Summoner's War is closer to its 11th anniversary than its 10th, so here's an updated list of some of the best Water, Wind, and Fire Nat 5s for new players. And guys, I tell you, I must have written this script like 4 different times. As the years go on, it is getting more and more difficult to write a succinct list of just the best units for new players. So if there are any units that you feel I missed or maybe I misplaced, let me know and we'll compare notes at the end. Number 11, it's a newcomer to the list, Byungchul, the Wind Dekebi Lord. Honestly, this unit was not even on my radar for new players until Michael pulled him. He has a huge track record for like guilds, arena, RTA. In fact, that track record was so strong that he actually got nerfed a little bit, and he's still really good to this day. But for new players, it turns out auto-critting is really valuable. Kind of akin to Second Awakened Naomi, relieving that burden of having to find all that crit rate to supplement the awesome amount of crit damage you've loaded onto a monster is so helpful. Michael used him to great effect to clear through the scenarios and also climb through GB10 with relative ease. Then you couple that with the fact that he can transition well into other content in the future, and you've got yourself a number 11, baby. Let's move on. Number 10, it's Nora the Fire Totemist. Nora offers a lot of dots and strips. Every time she is attacked, she will also try to put a dot on the person that dealt her the damage. And once you have either been attacked or attacked enough, you'll stack enough totems to unlock that 4th skill, which offers a strip and will also attempt to reduce everybody's HP down by 5% per debuff on them. It's a little bit of a different number for bosses, but it doesn't matter. So that means that she's going to deal a dot's worth of damage to everybody for every debuff they have on them. That's rad! And it gets her number 10. She really shines in TOA, RTA, etc. But I should note that if TOA is your main concern, then Magnus, the Fire Magic Order Guardian, can also work here. He offers dots and stuns, and he can also chain into his skill 3 to apply even more dots down the line. Number 9, it's literally all of the Dragon Knights, specifically Water, Wind, and Fire. Chao can solo the Water Lab boss that auto-snipes you if you're frozen at the start of your turn because he cleanses himself. Then Laika can get you through giants because his passive inhibits him from taking more than 20% of his health as damage from a single hit. He also can't glance, he heals on skill 1 and can counterattack. And both of the boys that I just mentioned are helpful in the ever-beloved Dimensional Raid because their skill 2 ignores damage reduction effects. And then there's Leo. Leo's one of those monsters you really don't mind getting at any point in the game. He has an incredibly unique passive that sets every monster's speed to his. So in application, that means he always goes first, and he reduces incoming damage that scales with speed. He's great for the speed limit floors in Tartarus too. And obviously he's a staple for arena offenses. 8, it's Wusa the Water Pioneer. Wusa's become a staple of these lists because he is just so dang good. He is well known for applying 3-turn shields and immunity. He also has true damage on skill 2 and an occasional 2-turn sleep. You know, sometimes. Seems to only happen when I'm behind in RTA. But, you know, whatever. They sleep me when I'm at my weakest. It's like I've already lost the game. Did you need to sleep me? Come on, dude. Wusa is at his best in RTA, but you can also kind of just throw him into a PvE comp and he will just clear it for you. I've said it in the past, and gosh dang it, I will say it every other time I talk about Wusa. The only thing I will caution you about is that he can become a bit of a crutch. Because there comes a point where you actually want to reduce the amount of safety on your team, so that way you can speed it up. And all Wusa has is safety. The dude is basically a walking airbag. Number 7, here for similar reasons, it's Velajul, the Fire Archangel. He also applies 3 turns of immunity, but where Wusa applied a shield, Velajul cleanses, and he also increases attack bar. Then he has a defense break on skill 2, and he heals. The dude has gotten so good that he's made it on the list. He's one of what I've been calling the Holy Trinity of RTA currently. Bro's been wreaking havoc on the meta. Number 6 is Brandia, the Fire Polar Queen, and in the script, all I wrote was big damage. And that's not necessarily wrong. Brandia can fit on any team that you want to speed up where she's at element neutrality or she has element advantage. So you can throw her in the Steel Fortress. She's also great in some of the Rift Beasts, specifically Fire, Wind, and Light. And I use her on a couple of the Tartarus Lab bosses, Wind and Fire. Her 3rd skill scales with debuffs, kind of like Crow, but it's a lot. It's a lot, dude. You're just gonna have to trust me. It's pretty cool. Number 5, it's Karnal, the Fire Slayer. Karnal has AoE attack bar reduction and stuns, so that means he's going to be great in TOA. He also is amazing in RTA, but in my opinion, he has the best leader skill for arena defenses. specifically because it's a beefy HP lead on a fire monster. So that means Lucian is going to be at an elemental disadvantage towards him. So it's harder to cleave this guy and any team he's attached to than the average one. Number 4 is a tie between Cigar and Chungpung. Either one of these guys is going to be great for you as a new player. These guys both have a couple things in common. They both have AoE attack bar reduction and increased cooldown time to some extent. Cigar will put a single target on max cooldown, then reduce everyone's attack bar down to 0 and try to provoke. He also has provoke on skill 2 and skill 1. Sounds great for TOA and RTA, because it is. Then Chungpung has AoE attack bar reduction, but will try to reduce everyone's cooldown by 1 turn. And that's kind of comparable to like the Dark Homunculus when you're in Trial of Ascension. The Dark Homunculus has a skill that puts everyone on cooldown for 2 turns, but in a weird way, right? So it's like if you reduce everyone's attack bar down to 0 and you increase their cooldown time by 1 turn, didn't you just kind of buy yourself like 2 turns, right? It's less than or equal to. Doing those equations again, you get what I'm saying. And of course, they're both stellar in World Arena. Cigar is another member of the Holy Trinity. He has been wreaking havoc for seasons up there with Belajul and Chandra. Spoiler, Chandra is not on the list. He's great for RTA, slightly less good for new players. Number 3, it's the Occult Girls section. It's literally all the Occult Girls. Can't go wrong. One of the best families in the game. Charlotte, for reasons we've already talked about, AoE attack bar reduction, sounds amazing in TOA. So sick. Also has a weirdly fast base speed, so you can use her in RTA. Rika, no stranger to number 1 on lists like this. Dots, slows, stuns. That's TOA, baby. You can also just last pick her in RTA if you realize people didn't bring immunity and they either have to ban her or they lose the game. That's awesome. And then there's Annabelle. Annabelle does very different things than the other 2 Occult Girls I just talked about. She does AoE defense break for 3 turns. I know, it's a long time. She slows and she has a healing cleanse on skill 2. So you can still use her in the same places we talked about, but she has the added benefit of also being weirdly good in R5. Number 2, Varad, the Water Dragon. AoE attack bar reduction, freeze, more freeze. It's just like an auto win for TOA. If you have Varad, then you've discovered TOA easy mode, plain and simple, and you'll also have a remarkably easier time farming Hall of Heroes when it comes around. Put him on Violent and pair him with anybody that reduces cooldown times, like Mav, Rauk for the team up effect, the Dark Homunculus, and you'll find that you'll just have everyone perma-frozen. It's gonna be like Antarctica, or like my place with the windows open. All right, let's talk about some honorable mentions and then jump over to number 1. First honorable mention is Liam, the Water Weapon Master. Liam is a staple for certain speed teams. He has a really relevant leader skill for it. The only reason that he's not a main number on the list is because of how difficult he can be to rune. He demands high damage runes, so for new players, it's gonna be a little bit harder. Next honorable mention is Zabala, the Water Puppeteer. Zabala freezes and increases cooldown time. This is extremely comparable to Chungpung. I just didn't put him up there because I felt like there were too many ties already, so I put, and this is such a nice spot for him, right? Look at how happy he is next to Liam. The last honorable mention that I'll talk about is Ariel, the Water Archangel. Ariel is another fantastic cleanse option for solo R5 because he replaces all debuffs on the team with a heal buff. And it's on an active skill instead of a passive, so that means the boss can't Oblivion him because he doesn't have a passive. Number 1, Teshar the Wind Phoenix. Teshar was the most chosen unit by new players when it came time to choose a Nat 5 in the 10th year anniversary event. And for good reason too. Teshar is a staple when it comes to speed teams for Giants, and the rune requirements on Teshar are lesser than your average speed team. Teshar makes it fairly easy to jump over to the speed team territory, especially because he offers a crit rate leader skill. A 33% crit rate lead means you can stack on crit damage on this guy and then pair him with 4 free-to-play units, and you have yourself a speed team. Legitimately, Prilea moving first applies defense break, Teshar there to help clear the wave, Konamiya to boost Teshar, a max HP damage scaler like either Lin or Shaman the Light Griffin, and then the Wind Homunculus at the end. That's a speed team, and the importance of this can't be understated. Giants is one of the most necessary spots to farm for new players and anyone, because having a strong foundation of Swift runes, Despair runes, Fatal runes is going to be one of your number 1 priorities, especially in the early game. So there you go, that's the list. Let me know if you would change up the order on any of these units, or heck, if I forgot a unit that you think would be really good for new players. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.